All right, I'd like to call this public hearing to order. This is the Nottingham Zoning Board of Adjustment, and tonight we're here to hear case 17-005 VA. Application from Bertha and Dennis Fowler requesting a variance from Article 2, Section C1C of the zoning ordinance to permit a two-lot subdivision with lot line placement resulting in less than 30,000 square feet of buildable area. Proposed subdivision can meet the requirements, but would result in non-conforming building setbacks for the existing barn and/or the barn being on the new lot and not with the existing dwelling. Property is located at 50 Priest Road in Nottingham and is identified as tax map 20, lot 4. So just so you guys know, the way we operate is the applicant is heard first. They present their case, and then we allow abutters to speak for or against or ask clarifying questions. All right.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Really picks it up. My name is Chris Gaida. I'm a certified wetland scientist and soil scientist with Fieldstone Land Consultants. I'm here with Bertha and Dennis Fowler tonight, requesting the variance basically for the placement of the lot line on their property. Thanks to nice audio visual here, you can see that this is the property here, that most of this area here is wetlands. There's also wetlands that are not shown on this aerial that traverse up through here, which basically comes up through this parcel here. There's also an area with this kind of blue line. It's approximate based on aerial in the town's maps, but designated as a critical wetland in the town. The lot has 19 acres, approximately 850 feet of frontage. Essentially what we would like to do is we'd like to have 3 lots, but that's not really feasible. We have the acreage and the frontage, but we just don't have the dry land acreage based on the 30,000 square foot requirement. With the wetlands here shown in the bright green, with the setbacks here are the 50 feet into the critical wetlands, 100 feet here. The bright yellow or chartreuse is the area of the 4K area for the test pits that we conducted, which were also witnessed by the town. The soils in this area are good sandy soils, well drained, very conducive to a septic system. Also the blue areas here are the proposed wells on this lot here, and this is the existing dwelling in the red, in the existing barn, and in the dashed pink here are the existing gravel driveways. In the orange here is essentially the line that comes down here and kind of gerrymandered around these buildings in order to allow for the 30,000 square foot contiguous area on both lots. So as you can see, that would essentially cut off the barn from the existing dwelling. That's obviously not ideal. Our proposal is to have the line somewhere in the vicinity of this bright pink line, which essentially would allow for the parent lot and house to maintain the barn, and would still allow for usable area, plenty of land here for a septic system and a house and a well. That's essentially it in a nutshell. I can go through the criteria, or I can answer the board's questions about anything specific.
Only question, the distance from the existing barn to the pink proposed line,
Yep.
roughly?
Yep. It's about 25 feet now. There's the setbacks here, shown in this white non-colored area. It's a little bit hard to see, but those are the 20-foot setbacks to accessory building.
Excellent.
There is this very small section of more like a woodshed here in the back that encroaches slightly on that 20-foot area. but that's something that can be, it's not in the, it's not on the lot or encroaching on the lot, but that's essentially it. We had done test pits kind of all over the parcel out here. There's an existing road that comes back here. This was some type of maintained field and mowed in the past, but over the past few years, this has basically started growing back into more of like a forested wetland kind of area with a high water table. It's still something that was farmed in the past and maybe in the future as well, but as far as suitability for septic systems, it's just not there. And there's a little bit of dry land up along the back property line here, but again, just not enough area to make it feasible. So essentially, again, we have enough area here for state requirements to have 3 lots, but we realize that's a little bit of bridge too far. So we're really looking for the 2 lots. We can meet the requirements, but definitely will create a hardship for the landowners in the property.
Questions from the board? Bob?
I have 2 questions. I noticed that your test pits were dug at the end of last year's terrible drought, but I heard you say the soils were sandy,
Yes.
well drained, so there would be no water there even in a spring like this, correct?
That's correct. Well, there'll be water, but it'll be down at a certain elevation. Usually when we dig the soil pits, you can tell by the soil colors where the high water table is, whether it's there or not.
And it wasn't.
And it wasn't there, and the colors were not there either.
Great. So my other question was about the lots that the town owns. Like, why does the town own lots on Priest Road? Is it by the fire station?
Nope, the fire station's down more, lot 3, this little box here,
In the
was,
corner, yeah.
I'm gonna defer to Mrs. Fowler, was that part of the conservation, the little lot?
I believe it is.
Yeah, because this, it's hard to see, but this lot here is in conservation, and for some reason that lot 3, that 1 acre lot was the town. Way back when, it was part of the Fowler's property.
I don't know how it got taken off.
Yeah, and I don't either. It's been ours
But
being
what
in
does
the
the
town
town
for
do with
years. What are we doing with it?
What do we do
Absolutely
with it?
nothing, because it's 99% wet.
Wet.
Yeah.
That part of the Tasker, was that the Tasker piece, that other piece?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
Murray piece, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it abuts the critical wetlands.
Exactly.
So it's-
Yeah, it gives us more protection to the critical wetlands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that the 2 lots? I noticed we're abutters twice.
We own one out back.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere, it's,
Two,
Yeah.
which is the larger one. and
the,
then 3 is
like I
small
say, the
section.
big piece here, yeah.
Yeah.
It's landlocked?
The
No.
town- No.
No.
This lot-
Actually, what I can do, I can give you a better picture. This is the most current Google picture, but if I go down to 2010, it opens it up a little more. Give it a second to catch up. So it just opens it up more. So basically, Barney, this is the Fowler's piece.
That
We own
goes-
this, we own this.
Okay, that's why we show
Yeah,
it twice.
that's why we're twice, yeah.
And they're not connected to anything that the town's doing?
Oh, absolutely not. No, it's a
Which way
critical
do I
wetland, so
get to sell them?
it's in conservation
Conservation.
protection, yeah.
Oh, conservation. Oh, so
Yeah.
we own it because conservation reasons?
Yeah,
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And it abuts the critical wetlands.
Right.
right.
So we should all recuse ourselves from this.
I don't think it works that way, Terry.
I'm glad it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly.
I just wanted to appreciate the amount of information you gave us. We don't
That's
always
great.
get such detail. And it's been very helpful in understanding what they're doing. And it looks to me like, so on the 2 lots, which then will not be subdividable,
Right.
probably, in my lifetime anyway, you have enough
Yes.
critical area. It's just some of it's on the other side of the line. And
Yes, unfortunately, a lot of times we just don't know until we do a lot of preliminary work, the mapping, soils mapping, and testing, and wetlands. where the line's gonna end up. Like I said, ideally, we have 3 lots here, but the wetlands just don't allow it. You don't really see it on these aerial maps, which is
Right.
sometimes hard for folks that aren't, really familiar with it. It doesn't show wetlands, so they naturally think that there aren't any there. But once you get on site, and you actually start mapping it to the 3 criteria, according to the 87 manual, the hydrology, the vegetation, and the soils, it is jurisdictional wetlands. Again, there's a lot of these areas that you can see this in this photograph a little bit better. They've been farmed, back, 200 years or whatever, but the farmers didn't get out there until, June or July.
Right.
And there's a high water table out there, and it's just not, it's fine for farming, but it's just not suitable for septic disposal or building a house, so.
Yeah, to give you a rough representation of where the lot is, we'll let the picture catch up. That red dotted line is the power line that runs across Priest Road. So the fire station, the school, you can just barely see part of the school at the bottom of the picture. So, yep.
Excellent. Anybody else on the board? Questions?
I can just proceed through the criteria, or?
Sure.
I'll go ahead and just, you just read it. It sounds really repetitive. The nature of the beast. So, intro, the purpose of the variance request is to allow for the creation of a single new residential building lot, which permits the existing dwelling on the lot to maintain the ownership and use of the existing barn and outbuildings on the current lot. Town zoning ordinance requires a contiguous 30,000 square feet of upland area within the building and wetland setback lines for the placement of the house, well, and septic area for a 2-lot subdivision. Due to the configuration of the lot and location of the wetlands on the existing 19-acre parcel, the required building area would require the proposed lot line to go between the existing house and the existing barn, thereby removing the use and ownership of the barn from the existing barn. Since the subdivision can support the required 30,000 square foot contiguous area on each lot, the owner is seeking relief to allow for the contiguous building area to be split with the proposed lot having 20,733 square feet and the existing lot to have 44,614 square feet. And again, I want to, since I'm reading this now, I'm thinking about it, that actual square footage, we're still in kind of a conceptual phase right here. The intent really is to show this line. That square footage may vary by a square foot or so, depending on, once this right-of-way is nailed down, this is an older lot with not a precise boundary around it, that's part of the proposed subdivision work that we're doing. So some of that area might vary by a few square feet, but that's the intent. And the extensive amount of wetlands on the lot precludes any other configuration or future subdivision potential for the 19-acre subject lot. So the 5 criteria for a variance: number 1, granting the variance would not be contrary to the public interest because granting this variance would allow for a reasonable and productive use of the existing property. The zoning for the property is residential agricultural, which has a lot size requirement of 2 acres, 200 feet of frontage, with 30,000 square foot contiguous area lot envelope within the setback lines. The parcel consists of 19 acres and has 850 feet of frontage, plus or minus along Priest Road. The property meets the town zoning and subdivision requirements for 30,000 square feet, contiguous area within setback for each lot. However, due to the configuration of the property and location of the wetland areas, the new lot line would be required to split off the existing garage and barn associated with the house. The requested variance is to allow for the existing barn to remain on the same lot as the existing dwelling. The proposed lot will also comply with all other subdivision and zoning requirements. The proposed development will be consistent with the neighborhood and will not look any different than the surrounding properties. This proposal will not alter the essential character of the community nor threaten the health, safety, or general welfare of the not be contrary to the public interest. Number 2, if the variance were granted, the spirit of the ordinance would be observed, because we believe this proposed subdivision is reasonable and would meet the spirit of the ordinance, especially relative to the surrounding properties. The available building area, the location of the existing improvements, and the characteristics of the land allow for ample room for a well, septic, and dwelling without requiring that the existing barn be raised, removed, or relocated on a separate lot due to the building setback requirements. The proposed lot location meets setback requirements of the county while still allowing for the reasonable use of a large parcel of land, the majority of which is not suitable for development due to the presence of wetlands. The proposed overall lot sizes will exceed the required 2 acres and provide for large areas of contiguous open space adjacent to town-owned conservation land in a critical wetland area. The large lots are consistent with the surrounding properties, provide for reasonable building area, and in our opinion meets the spirit of the ordinance. Proposal will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood or threaten the health, safety, or general welfare of the public. We therefore believe that granting the variance would observe the spirit of the ordinance. Number 3, granting the variance would do substantial justice, because granting this variance would allow for the reasonable and productive use of the land and allow for the creation of 1 new lot that would be consistent with other residential lots in the area and would not alter or detract from the essential character of the neighborhood. We believe that the current proposal provides for productive and reasonable use of the property, which meets all other building setback requirements. If the subject lot did not have a significant amount of wetlands, it could support up to 4 lots, given the acreage and frontage. Approval of the variance would provide substantial justice, as there would be no apparent harm to the general public, and it would allow for the property owner to maintain use of their existing barn while still being able to develop at least a small portion of an existing 19-acre parcel. Number 4, if variance were granted, the values of the surrounding property would not be diminished. This proposal consists of subdividing a 19-acre parcel into 2 residential lots. The proposed subdivision can meet the required ordinance, but it would require the removal and/or loss of the existing barn, garage, in order to comply with the regulations. The development will, in our opinion, still meet the intent of the ordinance with adequate space for well, septic, and dwelling construction while meeting all of the setbacks. The use is consistent with the zoning and surroundings and will have no negative impact on the surrounding properties. Since this proposal is consistent with the neighboring properties, and for the reasons stated above, we do not believe that this proposal would have a negative impact on the surrounding properties. Our experience has been that new construction can oftentimes have positive impacts on the surrounding property lines. And number 5, unnecessary hardship. Owing to special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, denial of the variance would result in unnecessary hardship because 1, no fair and substantial relationship exists between the general public purpose of the ordinance provision and the specific application of that provision to the property, because we believe this property does possess special conditions given its geometry, size, and physical characteristics. Although the parcel has more than adequate frontage, acreage, and good soils in the southern portion along Crease Road, the northern portion of the property is a former wet meadow which has grown up into a forested wetland, and the western portion of the property is a very poorly drained wetland, considered critical wetlands according to the town maps. Although the parcel has 19 acres, the majority of that is considered wetland, and only about 4.5 acres along Crease Road is upland area. Once the building setbacks are applied, it reduces the usable area to approximately 1.5 acres out of 19. We believe that one additional single-family residential dwelling is consistent with its surroundings, is a reasonable use, and would be supported by the general public. It is our belief that permitting the lot line to be adjusted to allow for the continued use of the existing barn with the existing house in conjunction with the creation of one new lot, meets the spirit and intent of the ordinance, especially when you evaluate the surrounding properties and take into account the available building areas, the location of the existing improvements, and the quality of the land characteristics in the building area. It is our belief that the intent of the ordinance will be met by providing adequate usable land area for a house site, septic, and well. It is our opinion that the geometry, topography, suitable soil conditions of the proposed new lot will easily support a residential building lot as proposed in accordance with all applicable health and safety standards. Based on the above, we believe that no fair and substantial relationship exists between the general public purpose of the ordinance provision and the specific application of that provision to the property, and that a denial of this variance request would result in unnecessary hardship for the reasons stated above. And section 2, the proposed use is a reasonable one. As stated above, we believe that this proposal meets the spirit and intent of the ordinance, as it will provide for safe access, septic and well installation, meeting state DES standards, does not need additional permitting such as wetlands crossings, and the lot can support a proposed single-family residential development. This proposal will also be consistent with its surroundings and will result in no negative impact to the public. For this and all the reasons previously stated, we believe that the proposed use Section D, explain how if the criteria in paragraph A are not established, an unnecessary hardship will be deemed to exist if and only if, owing to special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, the property cannot be reasonably used in strict conformance with the ordinance, and a variance is therefore necessary to enable a reasonable use of it. The subject property is unique given its existing features, including the large amount of jurisdictional wetlands, as well as critical wetlands for town designation. Not often do you find a parcel that consists of 19 total acres with only 1.5 acres of usable land, upland area outside of the property line and wetland setbacks. Although the upland area could easily support 3 or more residential dwellings on the property, is limited to only 2 due to the local wetlands and property line setback requirements. The proposed lot subdivision would have no more than the required amount of suitable land area to accommodate on-site septic systems, wells, and dwellings in accordance with DES state standards. Granting the variance would allow for reasonable use of the property and give relief from a building setback in order to maintain the existing dwelling and barn on the existing lot. It is our opinion that granting this variance would allow for a reasonable and productive use of the property with its unique characteristics.
Pardon me? Did you say you wanted him to repeat it, Peter?
Thank you. I guess that's good, right? Any abutters wish to speak?
I was more just curious.
That's okay.
All right.
Did you get a chance to see this, what he wanted to do, okay?
For the most part, I looked at it prior.
Okay.
Someone feel like making a motion, or you want me to do it?
I can move.
All right.
Paul, it's to accept we don't have to accept the application, it's,
No,
Right.
zoning doesn't have to accept the application, it's
Okay.
planning. Yeah.
thank you. I move that we approve the request on case 17-005-VA from Bertha and Dennis Fowler for a variance from Article 2, Section C.1.c of the zoning ordinance to permit a 2-lot subdivision with a lot line placement resulting in less than 3,000 square feet of buildable area. The property is located on 50 Priest Road in Nottingham and is identified as tax map 20, lot 4.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor? There you go.
Thank you.
We're good. Next step's planning board.
All right, at this time, I'd like to close the public hearing on case 17005 VA and pick up with our meeting minutes of May 2nd.
I just have one side question about that. Well, we're working on the minutes right now.
Yeah,
Just a road question, but it's probably
a
not
road question?
off agenda thing, just a
Oh,
general.
okay, all right.
Good
Good night, folks.
It is.
Okay, we're doing minutes. There's one correction to the minutes.
Okay.
I thought I saw an email about, I wanted to correct something in the minutes.
Yeah, let me just finish this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I have a comment about the minutes if I can.
Sure.
I received from me, Bonnie, a request to change the motion that was made. From saying, not saying that it was a request. I can't do that. I quoted the motion word for word. So
That,
it can be changed.
then that word, that doesn't count. They don't have to do it. That's not what I remembered, but you have the tape, I suppose.
Yeah, and I listened to it one more time before coming to the meeting tonight.
What lines are we looking at?
The very last, very last of the,
What line number? 122? No.
87.
I don't have them in front of me, so is that the lines? It's the one where,
Actually, it's not there at all. Oh, no, it is. It's on the next page, sorry.
Yeah, line
So it's the
9.
last portion.
Line 90, and request the deed restriction on the area be included in this.
but I can reassure you though, that the notice of decision does not have it worded as request. That's the condition.
Mhm.
One of the condition is that deed restriction be placed on the section of land between the two proposed new lots as agreed to by the applicant.
Well,
And number two, a deed restriction to be placed on the proposed two new lots, stating the two lots will not be further subdivided as agreed to by the applicants. Because there were two restrictions,
Right.
Yeah.
okay? So the minutes do state, excuse me, request, but the notice of decision doesn't state it that way. To calm your concern, that's why I'm pointing out what my decision, the notice of decision states.
okay.
Because that was what they agreed to here.
Correct.
Right. I think it also
Well, that's what I
covers
know.
it.
This didn't seem to convey that to me.
But that's because I didn't state it that way.
I try really hard to always quote verbatim when it comes to motions made.
Weren't you going to be sending us notice of decisions? We asked you
I
to.
remember that. They're posted on the website.
Okay. But we don't know when you send them out. Do you do it right after the meeting, or?
I do the next day, if not 2 days later. So, if I don't work on Wednesday, I do it on Thursday, but they definitely go out within the day or two, I mean,
Because they have to.
right.
Yeah.
Do they show up? I'm just trying to think, when I go to the town
I
website,
don't remember ever seeing them.
that's probably because I don't look.
Can you pull up the website, please, Paul?
It's just,
I know we discussed this once before, and recently, didn't we?
do they show up in a different area
Yes.
than our agenda stuff, probably?
They are on our page, and there's a green bar, and he'll show you when he pulls it up, I can point it all out to you guys, so that, you can go there more easily in the future.
It's coming.
Is it?
Yep.
Yep.
Ever so slowly, but it is coming.
Okay. So you're,
The light.
It's
Under,
coming.
can you go to it with the cursor, or do you want me to do it?
I can do it with this, my
Okay,
pen.
great.
Yep. Go to application and forms, or, oh, notice of decisions, right there.
Wait, where?
Let me go back.
I can barely see it, that's why.
I'm gonna turn it.
If you get up there and point, it'll make it easier to see, I think, Paul. And that
There we
helps
go,
too.
that helps.
That helps a lot.
Right here, notice of decisions.
Ah, there you go.
He's
And
using
then
old
the zoning
fashioned.
board page.
Yep.
Okay, so if you, I'll click on that for you. And then you just have to look for the date, and that's, it was case 4 in this particular one, and
Excellent.
there it is.
Cool.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever looked at those.
But we should see.
Learn something
We
new every
learned
day.
something.
Yeah.
Okay. That help?
Yes.
And the notice of decisions are in the applicant's file as well. They're not just sent to them and that's it. They're posted on the board, they're posted on the website, and they're in the applicant's files.
Forever. Forever.
Forever.
Yep.
And I also have to give a copy of all notices of decisions to the assessing clerk. So they're in multiple locations.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
do you want
ma'am.
me to make a motion to approve the minutes?
Sure.
I move to accept the zoning board of adjustment minutes from May 2nd, 2017 as written, and they've been amended, right? And amended.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. There we go. Peter, did you have anything that you wanted to mention?
Just this case tonight, I was, driving down the road, it was half dirt road, half paved road, and I was wondering why they didn't need a variance to do a subdivision on that road, because it seems like
It's a class 5 road already.
it is, even though it's a dirt road, it's not even wide enough for 2 cars in some
Right.
places.
It's an old class 5 road in town, so, yeah.
Okay, so
Variance was for
road,
the,
isn't it?
the
Is that a
the
scenic
building.
It's actually a scenic road
Yeah, I
too,
know.
so, yeah.
comparing it to what we did last time with this other one that was on a class 6 road.
Right.
Oh, that was on a private road.
That was a,
Fine,
This
this
is
is
a
actually,
public road.
gravel pit's a class 6 road.
Pardon?
Gravel pit's a class 6 road.
What gravel pit?
The town gravel pit?
Any gravel.
The zoning case,
The last one we did was down
That's what
by
we
the
did
lake.
oh, was,
Yeah.
sure.
Private.
Private road,
Private
shore
road.
drive.
see, this is already a town, it's a town-owned road.
Different
so-
animal.
Right.
Right.
So we're not responsible for maintaining it in better condition than that?
Why,
I
I
mean,
think
if it's
it's,
a
I think it's in
town-
good shape.
That's a question for the road agent.
I mean, it wasn't bad, but I mean.
I mean, it's just, all the roads are water right now, so, yeah.
Okay, well,
It's been raining and it was winter.
See, it's rough, so you have to
Takes
go
it all
slow,
summer
so you
to
can
go
see the scenery of the scenic.
Yeah. That's why it's a
That's one
scenic
way of
road.
looking at it.
Jack, Mike and I discussed that on the way down it.
I was like, wow, this road's in great shape. I didn't have a problem with it. I think you need a truck or something.
You must have been going fast, Peter, or something. Were you going over the
No,
speed limit?
I'm used to going slow on roads.
You're going
It's just-
25 miles an hour.
Well, I
you know.
thought it was a town road, it's like, you know, where's the pavement on this thing?
No,
Way
Not
down the
all
other
town
way.
roads are paved,
Yeah.
and
no.
Right.
I
that's,
know.
we're a town.
Like I said, I just was a little surprised that the road wasn't an issue, but it's a class 5 road. And
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else?
Do we have another case coming up?
What's that?
Another case? coming up?
Actually, you have no cases scheduled, but, and not to jeopardize the sales of certain properties in town, there is one property that we visited today that's looking to open a wedding venue.
A wedding?
Yep, where they would host people to come in and have weddings. There's some zoning issues that will have to be addressed through your board.
What neighborhood is it in?
I don't wanna say because we don't wanna jeopardize sales of the property, so.
Oh, this property is being possibly up for sale. I
Yes,
guess.
yes, and the other two properties I can tell you,
They're doing their due diligence.
are in the Route 4 corridors. Both of them, the businesses, one will definitely need some setback relief from existing property buildings on Route 4. And the other one is it's a vacant lot on Route 4. They're aware of our zoning, and they just, to make it fit, they may have to come to zoning. It's a possibility. Two clean, two weather clean, yeah, there's two very clean businesses
Okay.
on one Route 4. People are looking at property in the process of buying it. And I actually heard today by email that one of the properties, an offer was accepted, they're just waiting for closing, so.
Okay, cool.
Probably the wedding venue won't be on Priest Road, Peter.
No,
I was gonna say, those Levantines would have a hard time with that road.
it's on a hot top road, so.
They get a little dusty on their way to the wedding.
Yeah.
Excellent. Just before we adjourn, folks, if you could fill out your notice of decisions. Excellent.
Summary of findings.
Right, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, not our notice of decisions.
That's
Easily
Joanna's
confused
job.
today. Right. All right, make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.